Hi, my name is Shanal Singh, and today I'm be doing my presentation on freedmen. Of course, everyone knows about the hardships that slaves had when they first came to the country. They weren't considered as people; they were considered as property. They didn't have any rights whatsoever. Um, they were treated very poorly. They had they had no real source of income or anything in that nature. Um, so after the Civil War, of course, when slavery was abolished, it didn't mean that all slaves and all all black people had the same rights as white men. Just because they passed a law saying slavery was abolished didn't mean that their rights were given to them, um, as you would think. Um, a lot of after the war, a lot of states passed laws that didn't really give them enough rights. More southern states than anything. Um, a lot of the rights that they did want was the idea of owning land. Um, what I found interesting was that a lot of former slaves thought that were they were acquired to get land because they worked on that plantation for how long as unpaid laborers. Um, one one group had a specific task to help build schools, provide aid, and also, try to get more civil rights to Black Americans that were former slaves, and also, in the future as well. That was called the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau only had about 1,000 agents on the board. But with that, they opened a lot of colleges, which was really good. A lot of colleges that are still still active today, like Howard, for example. Um, they also opened up nearly 3,000 schools in the bureau. They were the origin of the civil rights. So they like to pass bills, um, kind of getting the ball rolling before anything. Um, they did have a lot of pushback in that in the bureau from people in power. One of those things were they wanted to extend the Freedmen's Bureau for another year, and so on and so forth. But Johnson President Johnson vetoed the bill both times, actually. And finally, after they went over their heads over the veto, the freedmen actually had another year to kind of keep going. Another thing that kind of helped them was they wanted a lot of former slaves, ex-slaves, wanted self-ownership. They wanted family stability, religious liberties, political participation, which is very big, very key, because you can't go on with life if you don't get represented right in the government, and economic autonomy. Um, when the bill was passed for the freedmen to go on in their agencies, um, uh, that helped them kind of regulate themselves, kind of giving themselves a lot more advantages, especially in the political powers. Some examples that were listed was the that they had the black office holders that had 2,000 African Americans occupied public offices. Um, 14 were elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, which was really big. Two were elected to be the U.S. Senate, in the U.S. Senate. Um, the presence of black House office holders and their white allies made a real difference in Southern life. Of course, with all this, it did get a little bit more easier, but there was a lot more work to be done, especially with voting acts, especially with voting. They still didn't have all the rights to vote that you would think. Of course, the bill says they can vote, but a lot of states had separate laws for certain people of color, and that the government actually passed laws saying that it's okay to judge and be biased towards people of color. So they had to go over that hurdle as well. Um, Even today, I mean, a lot of people say that the system is broken, and um, you can kind of see, that's why I love history so much. You can kind of see that there were bills passed to not have African Americans succeed in the United States. And so you can kind of see the correlation of where we are now to where they were, especially with the freedmen's contributions. They went very far, but I feel like we have a long journey to go, at least, for our children's sake of, bills being passed, and sometimes the Constitution not being upheld for what it truly needs. Thank you.